And we are live. Hey, hi everyone.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Hello.
So, hello everyone. These are some of my amazing friends, and they're all X-Men. And what we are talking about tonight is the Access X-Men 2-day class, Disabilities or Abilities.
Abilities.
And I invited you all in because you've all had some like individual experiences. So, first of all, just to give people who may not have ever come across my page, one of the things that I am absolutely committed to is getting information out there in regard to people and the difference in their functionality. And so, according to this reality, I would be OCD or bipolar, which I still can have. If I go to judgment, I extreme it. And so, for this conversation, just information for you: X-Men are the ones that are diagnosed, are undiagnosed OCD, ADD, autism. Okay, I was undiagnosed, and basically, in this reality, it says someone who has obsessive thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and then they've behaviors acting off those obsessive thoughts, feelings, and emotions. That's a lot of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The access point of view in regard to X-Men is they're a mutation of the species, and they have the ability to be aware of other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and their body sensations, what it is to have a body. And we came here to create a different future. So the judgment, X-Men are energetic. There's no definition in our functionality. They are here to create a different future. And that future, one of the big things about that future is no judgment and no definition in regard to anything. So I invited you guys on. What stories would you love to share with people, either in you being an X-Men or the differences that you've experienced working with children, or you with OCD, ADD, autism? Yeah. I can hear Bia. Oh, you
Ja,
hear
genau.
you hear people
Simona,
before they talk as well. That's another real like before people talk, you can hear people. Bea.
yeah, I'm just in the moment really working with a boy, and he's diagnosed autism and OCD and some other things. I think I don't know exactly, and I'm just being the space for him, and he's so happy to be around, and he just always said to me that I'm his angel.
Oh,
It's just like, oh, you're my angel, you're my
he
angel.
says
Because,
he says this to you that you're his angel.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because he's not used to that people give him space and then accept him like he is.
Woof. Wow. That's actually like it's actually making me quite teary, because when you look at one of the, I'm going to say like one of the beautiful things that you can be with anyone who's autistic, OCD, ADD is actually space, because they're very similar. They have this very big zone of awareness from 800 miles to 8,000 miles. And so when Bea is there and she has no judgment of this little boy, and she's not putting a point of view about you should learn like this and you're wrong and there's something wrong with you. And so, because someone with autism picks up the mental chatter of people around them, they will think that your point of view is what they are. So, I'm wrong. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. And so, this little boy, when he's around Bea, and it's interesting how Bea says, I'm just space. Actually, space is a phenomenal gift to anyone with autism in regard to opening up their capacities for play and for joy and for relaxation. And so much so, he says, you're my angel. And is there anything else that you'd like to add to that? Because for me, that's changing the world. When you do not judge him, judgment is a point of view, a conviction that separates you from being you, because it says you should function like this. This is the only way. Is there anything you want to add to that? Because for me, it's so beautiful.
I had a different situation. It's a couple of years ago already. I was just like with a group of kids in school, and they had to do some work, and they were just like, everybody of them was sitting there, just straight looking at their thing, what they have to do, and
Focusing.
I felt. Yeah, and I felt really tight, just I was sitting there and I said, oh God, I can't stand it anymore. And I just put space for myself, just that I can breathe. And suddenly they started
Ah,
talking to each other. It was
yeah.
just like, and I was, wow, it's sometimes so easy in a way.
Thank you so much for this, because one of the things with Xmen is their first language is energy. I learned this from my own son. I'm so grateful for him. And every time that you be the space, X-Men can't focus. It's one thing that's actually really challenging for us. And we can have our energy in something, but to focus narrows down the energy when you're aware of everything. But we can apply our energy to something which doesn't have judgment attached to it. Okay, so you can change change where you put your energy. Thank you so much for this, because this is huge. So you, in that classroom situation, you could sense when you say focus on this, like how much there's perfection and judgment in regard to it and getting it right, and I can't get it wrong, which actually compresses and contracts any X-Men zone. And you saying you expanding out, they started to chat, which is about play and a different, that's so beautiful. Isn't it so beautiful? Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you ladies would like to add, Yana?
Actually, I'm like, I don't have a words. It's like I'm just like sitting here and like in my head is like, okay, I have actually like nothing really to say. I'm just listening and I feel so like it's so light and I'm like, okay, like if she's just going to ask me something, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I'm just enjoying the space and like I know like lots of parents. I don't have any experience actually with like autistic kids that I never like work with them, but I know like few of my friends they have kids, and I know that I just always knew that they're really fine. They just like really aware. So
Mm,
I
yeah.
and it's funny because when you said that when you described the OCD and stuff like at the beginning, like that is like overthinking and stuff. So I was like, okay, I was never diagnosed with anything. So for me, like I always thought, okay, I'm not X-Men, there's nothing for me. And now I'm like, how many times like in my life I did try to fit like somewhere. So so it's really interesting, that like really some diagnoses are like really like it's like difficult and blah blah blah, and like even like people they don't have to have any diagnosis. It's just like overthinking and we are like super aware.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like for me when I hear like when someone says that has autistic kid or OCD, I was like, oh my god, that's so great, because you are like so lucky that you have someone around you who can show you what's awareness. And
Exactly.
it's like
You said something really interesting though, which for me, I was undiagnosed as well, and
mhm,
so you said something about like when there's space that you go to, must I fill the space or must I think, or
mhm,
what I see is a lot of us. I'm talking about myself as an adult stepping into my X-Men capacities. We weren't allowed to have that space where we have an ability to take in huge amounts of information. And so, one of
mhm,
the things for me, I was never educated on. A lot of people have the point of view that that space is a blank place where you to get the right answer, and this was one of the things that was huge for me, because the way I learn and the way I process information is when there's a lot of space, not when I have to fill the space,
mhm,
the blank. And thank you so much for saying this, and even me then saying to Yana, hey, well, you don't actually have to fill the space. You can
mhm,
just, you're a massive contribution to the Xmen movement, and you can just be here and enjoy the space, and we can actually, the greatest contribution is to deliver that space, because that's where our capacities and our abilities to take in information and to, you know, to learn, so to speak, is maximized in ways that still astounds me in the way that I take in information. Yeah, thank you so much. So guys, remember, the space isn't a blank that you have to get the right answer. Okay, for Xmen.
Yeah.
The space is where you can sit and extrapolate on what you enjoy learning and the way that you can express that into the world. Yeah, huge, huge, huge. So we'd love to invite you to an Xmen 2-day Access Xmen Disabilities Or Abilities. And it's live in Prague, and Bea is translating German, we have German, Czech. If you'd like it in your language, just reach out to Troy Aldemaz, Vendula on here as well as and Yana. The ladies, reach out. And anything you guys would like to add?
Maybe I didn't say anything yet. No, I was also undiagnosed. I was growing up in a family where everything had to be normal and we had to be normal. So I learned to be perfect student, perfect
Oof.
daughter.
Oof.
And everything must be normal. And so I suppressed all my abilities. And then when it started to wake up, then I just was overwhelmed with everything. And I recognized I was like hypersensitive.
Yeah.
And that my brain functions differently, but I didn't want to live it like the way that the HSP people like treated, like avoid stuff and not to be sensitized too much. And then I found Access, and slowly I first like pushed away the Xmen. I can't be this. Then I understood that just
I won't be this.
for me, like because if I want to be conscious, I have to acknowledge I am a little bit autistic, or maybe a lot, because the opening of the capacities leading to the autistic spectrum, because they are so out of this reality.
So out of this reality.
It's maybe funny to describe it like this, but the gifts they are in the tools of Xmen are really great. And I'm so grateful that I found them, found you, and the Xmen classes, because every class gives me some piece of the puzzle where I am, who I am, where I go, and to the space. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and I just want to add, if you're watching this, my personal favorite tool is what am I actually perceiving right now? You're not having, like, we don't have to imagine what it was like to have those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, all of them, because we actually went through that. You know, I had massive depression, which is a suppression of choice and capacities. And so, what am I perceiving here? And then what choice have I that would nurture my reality, you know, instead of filling the space with other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, which I became very good at, which means I never had me in my life. I never actually had me, you know. And I just knew what everyone else wanted me to think, or, you know, which is the autistic characteristic. And so we would love you to know that you can really benefit from these capacities and abilities. The girls are simultaneous translators, which means they translate languages like phenomenal capacities, you know. And so we would love you to know that you're not wrong. And everywhere that you think you're wrong, you have a strength, an ability, and capacity that you just haven't explored, you know. So thanks for being here. I'm just beyond grateful that we can sit into the exploration of what is available with these abilities and capacities, and what would it take to create a world whereby these capacities are not judged, that they are seen as amazing abilities, functioning abilities. And yes, we're different. I require a lot of time on my own personally, and that difference is not wrong. Beautiful. Thanks, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come to Prague.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can't get to Prague Live, jump online, 23rd, 24th March. We'll be here. Beautiful. Mwah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.